and they think that I'm gonna, they're requiring me to show up in Missouri in 4 days when I've never even been notified.
Something kind of worth noting's been going on in the Gypsy Rose sphere. We have Gypsy, who and her team, who are sending out lawsuits. I feel like this is one of many lawsuits that are going to be rolled out on behalf of Gypsy. That's right here. It says Gypsy Rose Blanchard is suing true crime content creator April Jones, who is also known as Fancy Marcelli. I'm pretty sure that's how you say her name. She does, like, is it the Good Wives Network? I'll explain it in a minute a little bit more.
I am not worried about it. I am not concerned. I am not scared. And I also have not been served.
Breach of contract, fraud, defamation, and more. Blanchard and her family struck a life rights deal with the woman in 2017. Johns promised per the suit to produce media projects on Gypsy's behalf through her production company, Mad Ginger Entertainment. Now, for the most briefest of brief, because it's weird just how many people don't actually know about this, like, fancy lady channel. How I kind of know about it is I remember, like, seeing a thing on Reddit a little while ago where, in a nutshell, right, and I know I'm going to have some people being like, don't speak on what you don't know, but at the end of the day, I don't really agree with people, like, showing other people's medical records, despite if you once had permission to use it. I don't feel like that is really helping the case, and some people, I might have lost some people there, but at the end of the day, people that are kind of disclosing that kind of information about someone else, I'm just a bit like, even if we're talking about Gypsy, and I'm not Gypsy's #1 fan, but at the end of the day, like, play with fire, get burned. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's just my own opinion. Maybe I've lost some people, but whatever. Nutshell, Fancy, aka April Jones, was once, apparently she wasn't actually paid to do this, but she had her own media company, and Christy Blanchard, who is Gypsy Blanchard's stepmom, basically the family contacted her and was like, hey, could you please be in charge of, like, the media and stuff surrounding Gypsy when she was still in prison. Long story short, they ended up having a falling out, and Fancy has been on the attack ever since Gypsy's release, maybe even before that. Don't really know, but she's been the person that's kind of been, like, releasing all the medical records. And there was, like, that chromosome thing, which I don't really care about. I don't really care to hear about it. Just basically releasing information that she was once trusted with, because once upon a time she had a life rights deal. Whether or not that was terminated, I really don't know. I'm assuming it was terminated and she doesn't have permission to be sharing this information with the public. I'm assuming that's the reason why their lawsuit is going lawsuity, but in a nutshell, that's what's been going on.
And if I have to attend in person for this first one, we are going to make a event out of it. We are going to have a meet and greet. We're going to have a filming party. We're going to have all of it, because they will not stop me. And you know what? If you're going to make me come to your town, then I'm going to make it an opportunity for me.
So you have some people who kind of just talk about, like, the scandals that are going on, but then you do have other people on the internet who are, like, sharing medical records and sharing things which, like, the public didn't have access to, but now they do because they've been shared. Well, Fancy was one of them. She was basically in charge once upon a time of stuff to do with, like, media and whatever. Does it show a mugshot here, so I don't know what that's from. Basically, Gypsy is wanting to take Fancy to court, release of medical records, defamation, that kind of thing. So we're going to read it. Gypsy Rose Blanchard sues true crime content creator for defamation and fraud. But just to let you know, allegedly Fancy, aka April, she had no idea because she was never served these papers. Now, I have gone and I've watched most of that live, and I've gotten some little notes to see what she has to say, but she is, like, pissed. She is angry. She's really angry because she was never served, and she's angry because another content creator called Nina broke the news before she even heard about it.
It's unethical what all of you are doing. I don't know how Nina knew about it, but I was not served. I found out about it from Nina's life. So you might want to ask them. Ask Nina. How did Nina know? Did Gypsy Rose and Christy leak it to her?
My first thoughts were, did the serving papers, like, I think you're supposed to be served them in person, but if you can do it, because I've never been served papers, can you be served papers via email? Like, could they be in your spam box? Because that's very possible. Just to get everyone up to speed, the defendant in the suit is April Jones, also known as Francesca or Fancy Marcelli. According to the suit, obtained by Rolling Stone and filed in Livingston County, Missouri court last month, Blanchard and her family struck a life rights deal with Marcelli in 2017 while Gypsy was still in prison for her role in the murder. Marcelli promised, per the suit, to produce media projects on Gypsy's behalf through her production company, Mad Ginger Entertainment.
Did they just ask you to do their PR?
I offered to do it because Christy, okay, so Gypsy had told Christy she no longer wanted her doing any more interviews. So Christy came to me and said, will you do the interviews? And I said, well, yeah, it's promoting our project. And so then I became the official media contact for the Blanchard family at their request, not at their hiring. They never paid me a penny to do it.
Next couple of years, the Blanchards say they provided Marcelli with access and interviews, as well as an array of personal documents and evidence related to the case, including Blanchard's private medical records, family photos, crime scene photos, police videos, and court transcripts. But after some time in 2019, the Blanchards decided not to renew their contract with Marcelli, citing her failure to secure any media projects or produce any marketable content. They'd also said she'd become confrontational over Blanchard's relationship to then fiance Ken Urker.
Medical records to Natasha Cooper as well. They've given the medical records to everybody. Right.
That is the only thing that they provided me with that they didn't provide, that wasn't provided publicly. I was given the interrogation video from an A&E producer that I was working with. That's how they knew about me, to call me several years later to ask me to do the case that the show that I ultimately did, which was Killer Cases. I did not do anything illegal to obtain any documents at any time ever.
After this relationship ended, the Blanchards say Marcelli produced content sporadically about Gypsy. Marcelli often discussed her falling out with the Blanchard family and allegedly became more focused on the idea that Gypsy and her family were hiding things. Then, starting around October, not long after Blanchard was granted parole, the suit says Marcelli's content became more pointed and caustic, as well as frequent. The suit notes that Marcelli made money off of this content too, as some of her accounts were either monetized or subscription based, that Marcelli proceeded to post some of the material the Blanchards had previously given her, such as Gypsy's medical records, crime scene reports, including photos of Dee Dee's body, as well as plaintiff's cell phone numbers. She also allegedly made repeated accusations that the Blanchards were stalking her and encouraging people to stalk and harass her, but offered no evidence to back up the assertions. So just from actually listening to her live, which I'll show little snippets of, she still believes, and I don't know the law behind this channel, but all I have known is that she was one of the ones, or if the one, to release a lot of the medical records, talking about this like chromosome thing, whatever the case may be with that, and just talking about things which the public didn't know, to try and back up her point over the fact that like Gypsy is manipulating you into thinking that she has all of these issues. Not sticking up for Gypsy, saying that she is a good person, that's not it at all, but two wrongs don't make a right, and I feel that I can't help but get this little hunch that Fancy felt like she was given a crappy deal, or that she feels that she felt slighted by the family, so she then decided to turn on them. That's just my own thoughts and feelings, and you might hit me with a load of, oh, but you don't know about this and you don't know about that. Maybe I don't, maybe I need to be educated, but from an outsider's perspective looking in, it looks like somebody who was really invested in this family were given all this information, then when they were then cut off, they became vicious and started to like share this information that they were once trusted with, but they weren't trusted with anymore. And I can understand it from a perspective of like, this person's got a lot of information on me and they keep on releasing it even though they're not supposed to. I can understand why you might take someone to court for that.
I definitely need to come on your show. So somebody tag Toddy. Please tag News Nation, The View, ABC. I want you guys tagging everyone you can possibly freaking tag. Okay? Oh, I'm going to stop them. Don't worry.
Look, she had to spend all day today with the help of some of our supporters finding these documents because she's never seen them before, because she's never been served.
Even if it is Gypsy, even if it is. And the crazy thing is, in the comment section, they're all banding together to like now get hold of the parole officer, because I think Fancy has the parole officer's like full details, so she's going to be like sharing them. It's stuff like that. okay? It's stuff like this which just gives, like, commentators a really bad name. So, the person who first broke this news was Nina, the beauty influencer. I also do think that Nina can kind of intertwine herself a little bit too. She gets a bit too close to the drama sometimes. But Nina and Fancy do not like each other at all. And Fancy spends a lot of her time talking about how Nina didn't even come to her first to ask if this was true. She just, like, read out the court filings, which, once again, you don't have to come to someone to, like, determine. You don't have to do that, but apparently Fancy had not seen the papers.
And what Nina did was just really, really shitty. And the more I watch it, the angrier it makes me. You know, first of all, she starts off by insulting Fancy, saying, like, oh, she can't pronounce her last name. Yet she steals all of her content, including doing a whole thing about the chromosome disorder. And then she goes and posts this yesterday without contacting us or without doing her due diligence of researching it to see if it was even true.
So Nina was more than happy to be divulging this information and kind of throwing little jabs at Fancy, whether or not intentional or not, but this then wound Fancy up.
Y'all, the tea is hot. Now, Gypsy Rose filed a lawsuit against April Johns, which is Fancy Marcella. Let's talk about it. Child, y'all see this? Gypsy Rose Anderson cut off Louisiana. And this lawsuit is for April Johns. So you know that's fancy. Now there's a court date. Let's look at it. Court date is Wednesday, June 5th. And the judge's name is Ryan Wesley. Ain't that some irony for you? And it's at 9 a.m. Child, who's going to be in that courtroom watching? Somebody fill us in on the tea. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked that it's taken this long because I had a feeling that they would end up being able to file some type of suit just because there's a lot that's transparent. Even though Christy gave her the medical records and stuff like that, I don't know. And this may be a suit that they can't win. I mean, it's possible that they can win it. But this may be one that they can't win. We need to stay tuned and see what happens.
So Fancy was going all out saying that, you know, she wasn't served and she was just not a happy bunny. And they're already gathering up donations to try and fight Gypsy.
Let's get ahead of this, okay? We've also set up a fund to help me and the team raise money for a legal team for me to travel back and forth if I need to.
Every single dollar matters, guys. Everything, even if it's just $1, we appreciate it.
One of the things that she does say, among the fact that she says, like, she hasn't been served, she also says that she wasn't paid. So none of what she did was for payment, which, if you're, like, running your own media company, I just think it's a bit strange how you would do that for free. But apparently she wasn't paid. Maybe she was paid for bits of it. I don't know. I just remember her saying, in amongst the raging, that she wasn't paid. Just feels very slighted that she wasn't actually served them, which, to be fair, like, you are supposed to be served your papers, so that's a massive mishap if that is in fact the case, if she found out originally through Nina. Like, can you imagine if it's a whole court case that's been made, you've actually got a date set, and you find out through a creator that, like, is your arch nemesis? Know who we really need on this case? Runkle. Someone should email Runkle if you know a lot about this situation and can formulate it in a really good way. Someone needs to email the lawsuit to Runkle, because I will happily sit through hours worth of footage just to listen to him talk about this. It could be very well and true. It could be very well and true that Gypsy and Christy have been, like, being really horrible to Fancy, sharing information that you were once trusted with, but you're no longer working with them. There must have been a termination somewhere in there, in which case you are, you know, going against that. You're trespassing on that. You shouldn't be doing it. Is Gypsy fame hungry? Has she done some really crappy things? Does she really want to stay in the limelight, in the spotlight? Yeah, she does. But at the same time, she probably is going to be the person that is going to get you if you start, you know, spreading rumors, maybe some truths. Do you know what I mean? I need, like, documents. You know what I mean? Like, I need someone to literally, like, show me the proof that that has been cancelled. It's like if you once worked somewhere, like, I don't know, if you once worked if you once worked in an office and you were given all these details about all of the different things that were going on in that office, you can't then, after you've decided to quit, keep those documents or whatever you're doing and then share them around because your contract has ended. I can't really think of anything else that's a good enough example, you know, and that might lose some people. Some people might be going, Amy, you don't know what you're talking about. She never had this and da 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 da. I don't care. I don't care, and I don't feel like a lot of other people should care as well. I think some people have got it, like some people go to such extremes to feel slighted by, to feel like personally slighted by this whole Gypsy Rose thing. It's not just like, oh, kind of commentary, gossip, drama, speculation. They actually feel like they are the ones that have been slighted in this situation when they decided to get themselves involved in the situation. And even particularly about Fancy, because she actually was involved with the family at one point. I'm talking about some viewers and some commentary channels like who feel that they have been personally impacted by this. And I'm like, guys, in most serenity, in the most love, compassion I can possibly give, like, can we just let this go? Like, stop talking about this woman's medical record. Stop giving her that satisfaction. If we're gonna be talking about her, can we talk about something that's more superficial than whether or not she's faking doing this and that? Because well and truly, some people get so slighted by this whole thing that they're actually getting enraged, and I just don't think that's healthy. I just don't think that's healthy for anyone, let alone to make whole channels just talking about the inner rage that they have to do with this woman that they've never even met. And it's giving parasocial relationship, and a lot of people talk about how dangerous parasocial relationships are, and it's 100% true. But honestly, can we stop? Because otherwise you're going to get hit with things like this that could have been so avoided. And for once, I actually don't know really who would win this one, because it all comes down to whether or not that contract was terminated and what were the terms and conditions of that contract. Could you share that information like she's doing it? Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, I had to get that off my chest today, but I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Wherever you are in this world, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. I will catch up with you guys in the next video.